Some air fryers are slowly poisoning you. They're coated in chemicals that set up camp in your bloodstream and never leave. That's why I had to test this air fryer with a glass basket, aka the Ninja Crispi. And after 30 days, I almost returned it for this one reason nobody talks about. In this Ninja Crispi review, you'll learn everything you need to know in the next 8 minutes. That way you can decide if it's worth 180 bucks. I'll even show you insider test data you can't get anywhere else on evenness, cooking speed, and crispiness. First, let's unbox this thing in 3, 2, 1. Now, there's one thing you need to know about the parts on this air fryer, and at first, it's not that obvious. But if you ignore this, you might fall for something called the Ninja money trap. So Ninja gives you 2 containers made from borosilicate glass. That means they won't crack in the freezer and they can withstand high cooking temps of 450 degrees Fahrenheit. And they don't come with any toxic Teflon nonstick coatings. The small container is 6 cups, which is good for small portions. Then there's a large one that's 4 quarts for big batches of food or meal prep. At the bottom of each is a set of heat-proof legs so you don't ruin your counters. Each comes with a crisper plate. These go on the bottom of the containers and lift the food up so airflow can get underneath. And they help the food get more crispy. But here's the catch. The crisper plate has these silicone feet, and these feel kind of cheap. I can already tell how they might melt off or start to break off, and after doing some digging, I found multiple reviews complaining about this. This lady said that the feet aren't covered under the warranty, and Ninja wanted her to spend another 25 bucks for a new crisper plate, and that was only after 6 months. It's not a deal breaker, but it makes you question the quality of the machine. And it doesn't help that my glass containers came with chipped plastic on the bottom. If Ninja is gonna sell a bunch of parts knowing that the ones that come with the machine don't last, then yeah, it kind of feels like a money trap. And that's not all. If you care about your health, there's another thing about this air fryer that's gonna drive you absolutely mad. By the way, if you're looking to get the Ninja Crispi, there's links in the description which I'll keep updated with the best discount on the internet. Using the links doesn't cost you a thing and it helps support the channel. Next, there's the Power Pod, which cooks your food. It comes with a 1500 watt heating element and fan. It snaps onto the small container without any accessories, but for the large container, you have to use this adapter. And after you're done cooking, there's a set of lids. These are leak proof, so you can throw the containers in the fridge and take it to work with you without it spilling in your bag. All the parts on the Ninja Crispi stack together to save space in your kitchen cabinets. And you also get this manual that comes with a bunch of recipes and cook times. Now, let me ask you something. Do you want a simple air fryer? Because nobody wants to study a manual for 20 minutes to use this thing, and I'm sure you don't either. So let's find out how simple the Ninja Crispi is by making some French fries together. We're gonna place these in here, and I'll do my best not to stack them. The more you overcrowd the food, the less airflow and crisp you're gonna get. Now, we just pop on the Power Pod. If it's properly seated, the display turns on. Next, we pick our cooking mode. The Ninja Crispi has 4 fixed temperatures: air fry, max crisp or keep warm, reheat or re-crisp, and bake or roast. Here are the temperatures for the US model, and here are the temperatures for the EU model. The part that sucks is that you can't dial these in and edit them. So for the French fries, the manual recommends 17 to 21 minutes on air fry, and thank God you don't have to preheat this thing, otherwise we'd be here for days. Let's get the cooking mode and time set up and see what we get. Now we wait. Okay, so we're at the halfway mark, time to flip the food. Now we're at the 2-minute mark. This is where the timer confuses a lot of people. As soon as it hits 1 minute, it counts down from 60 seconds. Some people think it's adding more time, but it's not. And as you could tell from the obnoxious beeping sound, we're done. These took a while to cook, and I noticed that some of them were a bit crispier than others. Overall, I'd say they came out pretty decent, and I was happy with the end result. Now, apart from the temperature modes being fixed and the confusing timer, the Crispi is darn simple and easy to use. But here's the problem. This is just French fries. You probably want to see how it performs with pizza, chicken wings, salmon, and veggies, right? So I actually spent more than 41 hours and $2,417 testing the Ninja Crispi against all the best air fryers on the market. I measured evenness, crispiness, cooking speed, noise, and even energy consumption. And I've got that exact data for you. But before I reveal it, there are 3 things every person needs to consider before buying the Ninja Crispi. And if you ignore these, you might wind up making a $180 mistake. Okay, this first thing drove me absolutely insane, and it'll do the same for you. It's about something so simple, so fixable, it's almost irritating and insulting that Ninja hasn't addressed it yet. Let me paint a picture for you of what happens when you use this thing. You start the timer. Beep. You pause the timer. Beep. You start the air fryer again. Beep. 20 minutes later, your food is done. Beep. These aren't polite little chirps. These are piercing. My girlfriend was trying to take a nap and she stormed out of the bedroom to tell me to shut that thing up. And that's where I learned there's no way to turn it off. It's not a deal breaker, but if you're someone who gets easily annoyed by beeps, you've been warned. All right, this might actually affect you more than the beeping. You know that feeling when you buy a kitchen gadget and it works great, but then you realize, shit, I gotta clean this thing. You can stick the containers in the dishwasher or you can wash them manually by hand. The problem is the plastic legs are permanently attached to the glass container, and between the glass and the plastic base, there's a small gap. And just when you think it's done drying, you pick it up and you'll notice there's some water or some grease that's trapped in that hard to reach area. It's not a deal breaker, but for such a convenient air fryer, this kind of makes it a little bit more annoying to clean. But this next con is by far the most frustrating. This is supposed to be a non-toxic air fryer, right? Yeah, well, here's the thing. The containers are glass, so that part is true, but the crisper plates have a non-stick coating, and as you can see, I've already got some scratches. So you buy this thing thinking you're avoiding all the sketchy coatings, but then you find out that the part that touches your food actually has some kind of mystery coating on it. The good news is it's removable, but without it, the bottom of your food can get slightly less crispy and even soggy. The fact that Ninja says this air fryer is non-toxic but won't tell us what's in the crisper plate is the most frustrating part. Hey Ninja, just make the crisper plate stainless steel, but have to give them credit where credit is due because there are 3 things that can make this air fryer worth the investment. First, the Ninja Crispi solves the key problem that most air fryers have. You set a timer, you walk away, you wait, and then at some random point you start wondering, is it done? Is it burnt? Should I check it? So you pull out the basket and heat escapes, you mess up the cooking time, and then you repeat. It's this annoying guessing game. Well, the glass on the Ninja Crispi isn't just for looking cool or avoiding chemicals. You can actually see the food while it cooks. That means you can check on the food just by looking at it, and it's so easy to know when your food is done. Now, let me ask you something. What's the worst part about prepping lunch? It's not the cooking, it's all the dishes that pile up after and all the extra bowls and serving plates that you gotta use. By the time you're done, your sink's a mess and you've spent more time doing dishes than actually cooking the food. The Ninja Crispi fixes that. You cook in the glass container, you eat from the glass container, and you can even snap on a lid and store the glass container. It's super convenient and you can take it with you to work. And this is probably the #1 reason why I bought the machine. Apart from the crisper plate, this is probably as good as it gets when it comes to a non-toxic air fryer. You don't have to worry about forever chemicals disrupting your hormones or giving you or your loved ones cancer. This air fryer just gives you peace of mind. But now, I'm about to reveal my personal data for this machine that you won't be able to find anywhere else on the internet. Why? Well, because I literally spent weeks testing air fryers for even cooking, crispiness, cooking speed, noise levels, and energy. And the results might shock you, especially when you see how the Ninja Crispi stacks up against other air fryers like the Cosori or Typhon. We'll start with evenness. Now, nobody wants food that's crispy on top and undercooked on the bottom. Some air fryers cook evenly without flipping, others don't. So to test evenness, I air fried white bread for 7 minutes, no flipping. If both the top and the bottom brown evenly, then we know it does a good job of circulating the heat. Here's what happened. The top looked great, but the bottom not so much. If you want better evenness on both sides, this proves that you have to flip the food halfway with this air fryer. Crispy food is the reason why people buy air fryers, but if it can't deliver a decent crunch, what's the point? So I cooked the same 4 foods across every model, and I gave each a thin coat of olive oil and used the same time and temperature. Here's what we get for the wings. Now, it took 45 minutes to cook these, but the crust on them was one of the best I've seen from an air fryer. Here's the asparagus. These came out fairly crispy towards the ends. Next up, salmon. There's a decent crust on the edges and ends. The center was juicy and perfectly cooked. Here are the results for pizza. This thing is definitely not made for pizza. It takes super long, and the crust was crunchy on some parts and soggy on others. Next up, we got cooking speed. Many air fryer brands claim they cook faster than the competition, but here's the question. Do they actually, and can they cook the food without burning it? To find out, I used a 130-gram meatball and tracked both the internal and external temps with a digital thermometer. A meatball fully cooks when it reaches 160 degrees Fahrenheit internal temperature, and I used the same temperature with all the air fryers I tested. The Ninja hit 375 degrees Fahrenheit, close to around 6 minutes, and the meatball reached 160 degrees Fahrenheit and finished cooking after about 18 minutes. If you're worried about if that's fast or slow, don't worry, we're going to compare it to all the other air fryers at the end of this video. Now, let's talk about the noise, because if your air fryer sounds like a jet engine, it's going to get annoying fast, especially in a small apartment with kids or roommates. I put a decibel meter next to the air fryer on full blast. It averaged around 61 decibels, which is quite quieter than a blender, but slightly louder than a microwave. It's not silent, but it's not obnoxious either. For everyday use, the noise level is totally reasonable. Now, most people don't think about this when buying an air fryer, but if you're using this thing daily, the electricity costs are going to add up fast. An air fryer that hogs as much power as an oven could cost you hundreds of dollars over a couple of years. So I plugged in a power monitor for this air fryer for 20 minutes. We got 0.2 kilowatts. If you use it daily for 1 hour for 4 years, that's about $149 in electricity. Over that same time period, an oven would cost around $621. This Ninja was pretty efficient versus the other models, and it saves you around $472 versus an oven. Here's the final scorecard. After testing the Ninja Crispi, here's exactly who it's for and who it's not. For large families, it's a bit small, but for single people or families of 2 or 3, the Crispi makes sense. If you care about your health, you like to meal prep, and you love the convenience of cooking potatoes, I definitely recommend it. But I wouldn't recommend it without clicking this video to see how it stacks up against all the best air fryers.